I'm Kimberly from Fat Quarter Shop, and we're back with another free pattern. So download the Jelly Roll Twirl at Fat Quarter Shop, and I'm going to show you how to make the block. And the pattern actually comes with 3 sizes: throw, lap, or twin. So you can make any of those sizes. This is a very beginner friendly quilt. Now today I'm going to be stitching or sewing with the Simply Delightful collection by Sherry and Chelsea, and you need 1 jelly roll and 5/8 yard for the throw quilt. And this 5/8 yard background is a Bella Solid color 200. So I'm going to just kind of jump right in. So download the free pattern and I'll show you how to make the quilt. So to be exact, on the throw size, we only need 33 strips. Now I have starched all of my fabric because it's easier for me to work with. So from your strips, you're gonna make some strip sets, and you're gonna make 11 of them. They're all gonna have 3 pieces to them. And what I like to do is when your fabrics come off the jelly roll, you will have some that have white on the selvage and some that are just plain on the selvage. What works best for me is if you rotate so that they're different. And what you'll do is just sew this with a 1/4 inch seam and press. And on this quilt, we pressed open, and we're gonna go ahead and press open through the whole quilt. And once you sew that together, this is what it will look like. And you'll notice we have rotated our jelly roll strip, pressed open, and as you see, one end is straight and one end is not, and that's okay. That's just kind of how jelly rolls work. And again, you're going to make 11 of these, and we'll move to the next step. We're going to take 3 of these strip sets and cut them each into 6.5 inch squares. And what that's going to do is give us 18 total 6.5 inch squares. So what I like to do on this quilt, using the Creative Grid 6.5 by 12.5 inch ruler is all you need. And what I'm going to do is line up the line on one of the seams, cut, and then we're going to cut 6 6.5 inch squares. It's already 6.5 this way. Now I'm kind of towards the center, and I don't really like messing with the center, so I'm actually going to go to the other side, cut off that selvage, rotate, and make 6 of these. And then this you'll discard. Now what you'll do here is, because you're working with jelly roll strips, it might come out a little uneven. So I like to go ahead and just trim the width also, just so that it comes out exactly 6.5. And you might notice you don't see the little jagged edges on this, and that's because we had a little filming mishap, and so we had to end up using yardage to make our step out. So just pretend we made them with jelly roll strips. And this step right here is totally optional. Most people probably wouldn't do it. I just like it to be a little bit more exact. And also jelly rolls, any pre-cut, it never comes exact. So you're going to repeat that on 2 more strip sets, and you will have a total of 18 6.5 inch squares. So we started with 11 strip sets. We cut 3 down into 6.5 inch squares. Now the remaining 8, you're going to cut 2 6.5 inch squares and 2 6.5 by 12.5 inch rectangles. So I'm going to do that same thing where I get a clean cut. So there's 6.5. 6.5, and the reason I picked this 6.5 by 12.5 inch ruler is you can just turn it this way and cut. Now I'm going to do the same thing where I trim this down So it's exactly 6.5. And your seams don't have to line up with any other seams. So you don't have to worry about if your left strip is wider than your right strip. So you could just cut on one side like I am. So you're gonna repeat that, and you will have a total of 16 6.5-inch squares and 16 6.5 by 12.5-inch rectangles. So now that you've cut everything, you have 34 6.5-inch squares. We're only going to use 32, so take out 2 that you don't like and just set them aside. You're going to take your fabric B square and put it on the top right corner. You want to make sure your stripes are horizontal, not vertical. And to get the best results, if you pin 3 times, it's going to keep this in place when you're sewing and it will not shift. I like to use an open toe foot so I can see my stitching, and I'm just going to stitch right through the center. And you'll have drawn a line from corner to corner with a friction pin. Once you stitch, you're going to trim a 1/4 inch away, so you'll trim that off and press. And you're going to press open, and this is how your unit is going to look. And again, you're going to make 32. Now from your rectangles, you're going to put a fabric B on the bottom right. And again, if you pin 3 times before you stitch on this line, everything will stay in place. So stitch on the line, trim a 1/4 inch away, and your unit will look like this. And you are going to use all 16 of them. And now we're ready to assemble our block. Each block is going to use 2 squares and 1 rectangle. You're going to place the rectangle on the right with the square on the bottom right. And then your squares, you're going to have a background on the top right. And then flip the other block so the background is on the bottom left. And what I like to do here is just make sure you like the placement of the fabrics. And you're going to sew this together with a 1/4 inch seam, press open, and then add the rectangle to the right side, stitch with a 1/4 inch seam and press open. You should have a total of 16 blocks, and today I'm demoing the throw size. Now for the throw size, you're going to have 4 blocks by 4 blocks, and you'll just follow the diagram for your placement. But the way we have it placed is where you have kind of a little on-point square. So you can easily see how we have pieced that together. So you can either piece this in rows and then columns, or you could piece 4 blocks first and then place them into your quilt. And remember, it's supposed to just be scrappy. I hope you have a great time making the free fat quarter shot pattern called Jelly Roll Twirl. Make sure to subscribe to our channel and join me every Friday where I give you lots of quilting tips.